Arsenal have agreed a verbal deal with Martin Zubimendi on the player's side. All that's left now is to trigger his release clause. And this is one that's been sort of bubbling away since January. I think it was first reported that Arsenal were set to sign him, as the report said. And the fact
Mm.
that they've got the green light from him well ahead of the opening of the transfer window, how pleasing is it to see them get that aspect of the deal done well ahead of time?
Yeah, it's pleasing. I mean, it's been this way. Nothing's really moved on from it. I mean, it's Arsenal have always been very confident that they were going to get him, that he'd agreed to sign. So I'm still until I see him holding a shirt, and I know it's cliche, but holding a shirt, contract in hand, pen in hand, that I won't feel totally comfortable with it just because of Zubimendi's past and how he's changed his mind late on. You know, he did it to Liverpool last season, sorry, last summer. So yeah, I mean, it's great news for Arsenal if it is over the line. It's not signed yet. Obviously, the agreement's been there. It's been there for some time. Arsenal have been confident that they've got the job done and that he's not going to sort of get swayed by Real Madrid or anyone else. So, but it's not signed yet. So until it's signed, we can't totally celebrate it. But if it goes the way we're thinking it's going to go, then it's great news for Arsenal. You know, they've made it's a really good start to the window. It shows real intent. They wanted a six. They've gone out and got what they view and many others view as the best six potentially on the market to get. So that sends a good message, and that's a good sign. So yeah, it is very very positive.
Yeah, like you say, he's got history with a last minute change of heart, Martin Zubimendi. But you mentioned there about the Real Madrid links. There's been sort of tentative reports, mainly coming out of Spain, that they could try to hijack a move. Is that something you've ever been concerned about?
Not particularly, just because the noises we've been getting are that Arsenal have been very confident that they'd done the job and convinced him that this was a club to go to, and that they'd sort of got the word from him that he was gonna come, and so we've just been waiting. But the thing is, because we've had that, it's been that state for like 3 months now, 4 months now. The longer it goes on, you're always just a little bit concerned until it's done and it's like the ink is dry on the paper and all that. You never know, but that's always the messages we've got. And when all the reports have come out from Real Madrid, and we put the feelers out, and I've spoken to people, it's always been like, no, no, we've done a lot of work. We're pretty confident. So I've never been overly concerned. Obviously, now Xabi Alonso's gone or about to be confirmed. He's not actually been officially confirmed yet, has he? But he
Not
is.
yet, no.
He is obviously taking that job, and he's a midfielder, plays in the same position as Zubimendi, and maybe Zubimendi that would have some sort of an impact, but hopefully not. We can only go on what we know at the moment. At the moment, it's all the signs are that he's going to be an Arsenal player very, very early on in the window.
Yeah, maybe Alonso will take Granit Xhaka to him with Real Madrid instead. Who knows?
Maybe so.
Yeah, that'd be something, wouldn't it? But yeah, with Zubimendi as well. Of course, Real Sociedad have had a difficult season in La Liga. But like you were saying about Trossard and Rice with their injuries, Zubimendi had a busy summer at the Euros with Spain. So in your eyes, obviously, he's not been maybe it's I guess the same with Nico Williams. Had a really hectic summer, not been in fantastic form this season. So with Zubimendi, does he just need a proper break and pre-season, and then you're confident he'll get back to his best level for Arsenal?
I hope so. I have to admit, I don't know that much about Zubimendi. I've not seen him that many times. I've not studied Real Sociedad at length. So I've seen people suggesting he's not had the best of seasons. But I think across Europe, so many players haven't had the best of season. I think it's been a low quality football season on the whole this season. I really, really think it has. There's been some standout performances and standout performers, obviously. But I think on the whole, it's been a pretty poor season standard wise across Europe because I just think the Euros have taken a real toll on so many of these players and the amount of games they're playing. I'm not concerned. Look, Zubimendi, we know he's a very good player. We know he can come in at the highest level in the biggest of games, as we saw in the Euros final, and impress and sort of seize control of that game in the way he plays. And Arsenal have done a lot of work on him. They really think he's going to be suited to the Premier League, that he can do a job. And so no, I'm confident we'll see a really strong Martin Zubimendi if stroke when he signs.
Fingers crossed, yes, of course. There has been a standout player in the Arsenal midfield that's not Declan Rice this season. That's Thomas Partey, who you'd expect he'd either be challenging or replacing next season. And I did a look at the stats comparing Partey and Zubimendi's stats this season. You know, Partey is trumping him on most of them, but of course that's skewed by him playing for a top two Premier League side compared to Zubimendi playing for a mid-table La Liga team. And there is still talk that Partey, there's exploratory talks over a new deal, I think, so he could still stay. We don't know. Obviously, Jorginho is going, but if Partey does stay and Zubimendi comes in, Can you see one of them being Arteta's main number six, or do you think they'll be sort of battling for that role and rotating throughout the season?
I think they'll rotate and there'll be competition. But look, I can't imagine Zubimendi has been signed to be a bit part player in this squad. I think Zubimendi's coming in to be Arsenal's new number six next season. And Partey has had a good season, no doubt about that. But I think if Arsenal sign Zubimendi, that there's a reason for that they want him to be the guy, the number six, to sort of build the team around. So we'll see what happens with Thomas's future. We know I've spoken about that in the past. There are talks going on. They're not the easiest of talks in terms of coming to an agreement. So we'll wait and see if that happens. I hope I kind of think from a footballing point of view, I can see the business point of view of why it might be better that he goes because of the difference in contract, who wants what, how much money he wants, and everything, his age, what's being offered elsewhere. Football point of view, I mean, if you've got Thomas Partey and Martin Zubimendi as your two number sixes, your options, you're looking very, very strong in that position next season. So we'll see what happens with Thomas. But as I've said before, they're not going to be the easiest of talks to get over the line with Thomas, because I think both sides are coming at those talks from very different points of view of what they want from that contract. So we'll see if a compromise is reached.